there are two other things that are happening right now. Jared Kushner is putting, basically he has his eye on Gaza. Number two, this is the second part, and pay attention. Egypt is suddenly given 7.4 billion euros by the European Union. 7.4 billion euros. Not only that, actually look, I'll just show you this clip here quickly, right? Let's play the old witch, Ursula von der Leyen.
Warm welcome and your hospitality. I'm very glad to be back in Cairo. The partnership between the European Union and Egypt is of critical importance. The presence of 6 European leaders today shows how deeply we value our relationship. We share strategic interests in stability and prosperity. And given your political and economic weight, as well as your strategic location in a very troubled neighborhood, the importance of our relations will only...
Your strategic location in a very troubled neighborhood. Total witch. An absolute witch. So 7.4 billion from the EU, the International Monetary Fund. Whenever you hear of the IMF, you should run. The IMF just gave Egypt earlier this month, $8 billion. And last month, the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, said they'll invest 32 billion euros in Egypt's economy. Now, look, on the one hand, it's absolutely true. It's correct that Egypt's economy is in the gutter. People are struggling. This is without question, this is true. So, obviously, the idea, if you take it at face value, makes sense. Like, oh, Egypt's economy is troubled, let's give them some money. Fine. But that's not why they're giving Egypt the money. They're giving Egypt the money to buy his silence. Because they're going to invade Rafah in Gaza. Remember, it's right on the border with Egypt. And they want Sisi to take the Palestinians, like Jared Kushner is saying. We know for a fact that the Israeli government, the Ministry of Intelligence, they had a document that was leaked, and I showed it to you, and I published it, and I commented on it, and I put it in the documentary, where they were saying that they should take all of the Palestinians in Gaza, dump them in the desert in Egypt, and pay Egypt. How? By wiping Egypt's national debt, or, for example, in this format, right? So he didn't say yes at the time, Sisi. He talked as if like he wasn't in favor of the idea, but he took the money right now. Didn't he just take the money? Aren't the Israelis about to invade Rafah, where the majority of Gaza's population have been pushed to the border? Let me be very clear. This is not like some idea. It's literally happening. 1.5 million people in Gaza have been shoved all the way to the bottom of Gaza, and they are in Rafah, and the Israelis are about to invade it. And they're paying Sisi to either look the other way and or take in a bunch of Palestinians so that Jared Kushner can come and, start his development projects. But it's not just about waterfront property. We know, I showed you that the Israelis and the Americans are building a pier. They claim it's to give Gaza food. Now, I've been sitting here for 2 hours with you, and I told you in detail how there are 1,200 trucks just waiting to go into Gaza. They could easily go into Gaza this minute, but the Israelis won't let them. The Americans won't let them. And instead, they're coming up with some bullshit plan, like they're going to come with a boat. The boat can't carry enough food to feed the people the way that the system worked with the trucks. What on earth are you doing? This is like instead of mailing you a letter, I ask a pigeon that has never been trained to just, find their way and give it to you. What on earth is this rubbish? You really think that the Israelis and the Americans, who are literally murdering Palestinians, care about feeding those people that they're killing? Why would you feed someone that you're murdering? You're starving them. You don't care about feeding them. This construction site needs 2 months until they can serve a single meal. And even then, it's rubbish. So what's happening right now, all three things. You have Jared Kushner, who's one of many people, coming out and saying, you know what? Gaza looks very tasty right now. I'd love to have that on the menu. You got the EU, the IMF, and the UAE buying out Sisi again, buying his silence, buying his cooperation for this genocide. And you got the Americans, 1,000 US troops that are coming now, and they claim they won't set foot on Gaza. What are they going to do? They're going to fucking levitate? 1,000 US troops, the Israeli army, and a company owned by a former CIA officer that are building a so-called pier in Gaza to feed people. This is about the gas, and this is about building the canal. I told you that this was going to happen. I warned you about this stuff. They want to steal Gaza's gas. You had some moron on Twitter who was saying, well, you know, if Hamas had spent that energy and time digging for the gas instead of the tunnels, well, no, the gas is in the sea, you absolute cretin idiot. So you need infrastructure. You need to be able to go out into the water. The Israelis have Gaza blockaded. You can't even fish. There is no fishing, zero fishing right now in Gaza. And even before October 7th, it was overfished and horrible. There's basically a radius that the Israelis maintain, so you can't do anything. So now they're installing the infrastructure. They're establishing a foothold in Gaza in broad daylight. Declaring their intentions, showing that this is all coming. You know, it's basically manifesting, and I want to show you again from my documentary. If you haven't watched it, you have to go and watch it. It's on YouTube. You can just see it afterwards. It's called The Hidden Reasons Behind the War on Gaza. It's 3 parts. Okay, they're all on YouTube right now. So let me just show you. Let me play to you this part that I said about the EU. Okay, about how. Just listen.
And then the United States, you know, the guys who orchestrated the whole deal, go back on their word and they rip it up just like that and reimpose sanctions on Iran. So now Iran is barred from selling its oil and gas to Europe and others. So Russia and Iran, the 2 countries with the largest gas reserves, are out of the picture. Then Israel, all of a sudden, proposed themselves as a solution to the European Union's gas shortages.
Take our trilateral energy, for example, that we closed in June with Egypt and Israel. It has played an important role in our strategy to get rid of the Russian fossil fuels.
How convenient.
Exactly. How convenient. How utterly convenient. It's all coming together, unfortunately, at the expense, at the demise of the Palestinians in Gaza. These people are such demons and monsters, all of them. Ursula von der Leyen, Sheikh Netanyahu, all of them. They are truly backstabbing, devious, cunning, malicious, conniving monsters. They're doing all of this. They are literally committing genocide, starving and bombing millions of people so they can steal gas that's on the Mediterranean coast, and also build this Ben Gurion canal. Remember that the canal, if you want to go from the Mediterranean Sea into the Red Sea and save shipping time and costs, the Suez Canal is the only way through. The Israelis hate that because Egypt nationalized it in 56. Now, today, maybe that's not that big of a problem because Sisi is working for the Israelis and the Americans. But just in case, you know, the Israelis don't care. They think of themselves. They want to build their canal anyway. And this is an American plan that was hatched with them, and it was declassified in the 90s. They want to build that so they control the flow of traffic. You know, this is going to destroy Egypt's economy. How can Sisi go along with this? When the Suez Canal is no longer the only option, and the Israeli one might have 2 lanes of traffic and all the amenities of modern technology just by virtue of being built in 2024, for example, it's going to destroy Egypt's economy. All this money they're giving him it's not going to save Egyptians. He is betraying his own people. He is betraying the Palestinians and betraying the Arabs. I mean, it's really, really scandalous. You know, Nasser is rolling in his grave. He is doing 360s in his grave at the sight of this monstrosity.